Beetle. Great to be with you. Zoe.
Hi,
Tim.
buddy.
What's going on?
I got to start off with one thing really quick, if you don't mind. At the game Sunday, I usually like to be quiet, like nothing in my headphones during the game. But for whatever reason, this week I had the stream on.
Oh, you did?
And what fun being at the game, listening to Bob and Zoe. Like, I felt like I was living the game through you.
That's what we paid.
I mean, first of all, you're excellent, as you know. But, like, that was so fun, Zoe.
Good.
Like, I had to tell you that. Like,
you got some of the humor in some of the comments, right?
Totally. Like, when Bob talked about his shortcomings.
Yep.
Do I remember that?
Yep.
I was like, I can relate.
I was thinking of you, but I knew I had Bob next to me, so I gave Bob credit
That's
for that.
Right.
For being
That's right.
short.
That's right. That was so fun.
Which one did you like best? Was it stop adding time to this game?
I tweeted it. I was laughing. So I think I'm gonna do that from now on. I'm gonna listen to him.
You know, a lot of followers because I was getting hit with all the tweets.
That's good. It was a lot of fun, Zoe.
Yeah. Let's start with some of the stuff from the game on Sunday, and I know that the passes from the 13 with just over a minute to go at the end of that second quarter is something that is obviously worthy of second guessing. We just had a caller putting a lot of the blame on Jeord Mayo for that situation, not because of anything he did or didn't do in the game, but saying that Jeord, after game one in Cincinnati, calling the offense unsustainable in terms of how much they ran in that game, the reason why they were throwing in that situation in the game on Sunday. And I would say if there's blame, and I think you feel the same way, if there's blame on Jeord, it's that he wasn't telling Alex Van Pelt in that situation to be more aware of the clock and the game, and to not be just throwing passes there.
That's the way I feel, Beetle. So,
and I'm with you on this.
To me, the offensive coordinator can't be throwing passes there, but it's the head coach's job to ultimately make sure that doesn't happen. And so I go back to, and I think I want to say, I've heard this on a do your job back in the day with the Patriots when Bill would be there with Josh, and you'd hear Bill say, hey, run it up in there twice, or whatever it was, something like that. It's just the management of the game, right?
Yeah. That's what a good head coach does.
Right. And so that is missing. That is missing right now. And that one in the second quarter really stood out to me, Beetle, because I had the same thing happen in week 2, and this one was even worse. I went back to look at week 2, and it was 2nd and 8 in week 2 when they threw it and should have run it. This was 2nd and 2. From the 13-yard line, So,
yeah, but I think the overpowering thing is Jeord has given him pretty much full control of the offense. Going back to the comments of, "Hey, you're the head coach of the offense. Go ask him." When he was asked something
but that's his fault,
right? That's what I'm
on
saying.
him
Because now it's like I've empowered him too much.
And he did take that back, or walked it back to a point.
But it's already made.
I think my thing is more. It's got to be hard to be a head coach. Let's start with that. You got your offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, special teams. You got Evan Rothstein upstairs. But how you manage the game, that's your job, right? And in that situation, I do think that Jeord does need to be communicating with Alex Van Pelt on that. So I sort of put it on both of them, but more disappointed in Alex Van Pelt in that situation just because we had seen the same thing happen 3 weeks prior.
Was this Jeord Mayo's worst week as head coach of this team?
That's fair. That's fair to say between the game. How about the
just the undisciplined nature of the game?
Let me ask you. Yes, 12 penalties accepted for 104 yards, obviously off the field with Jabril Peppers. How about this? And I'm curious your opinion on this, guys. You have 12 men on the field on a punt. Joshua Uche trying to run off, and I don't know if that's on Jeord. Someone has got to call a timeout.
I feel like that's on the sideline. I feel like that's on a coach. More so than a player.
And only Jeord can call a timeout, though, if I understand the rules right.
Oh, I thought anybody could.
No.
I don't think so, though, because remember in that Chiefs game,
Spagnuolo called the timeout, and they gave it to him, and then the ref flipped out on him.
Yeah. So
he didn't see him. He figured it was just Andy Reid coming down the sideline.
Right.
Coordinators can't do it. It's either the head coach or a player on the field. To me, player on the field, you're getting ready for a play, and if you're supposed to be out there, you're not thinking or processing who isn't supposed to be out there. I think, as the coach calls back Uche to the sideline, that's on the coaching staff. That's on Jeord to get that timeout called, not a player.
So there's that. And I asked Brendan Schooler yesterday about that, and he had just mentioned that's on, he took responsibility as a player on the field that could have called a timeout. Mentioned they've had a lot of injuries. They're shuffling different players in and out of special teams, just to put that out there. But then how about at the end of the game, and I didn't think about this at the time, but watching it over, 4th and 15 after the Hunter Henry false start, if I have it right, you're down 15-10, and you have all 3 timeouts. Have you guys talked about that? Do you kick the field goal? I mean, I don't know if that's been discussed much, but that's another game management decision.
Now, he said, I think Jeord Mayo said something along the lines of he was worried about
the defense.
The defense was not going to hold up. He thought they were toast at that point.
And it's fair. I mean, they ended up holding up.
It's an interesting strategy conversation, but I do appreciate a coach who has a feel for where the team is at, right? I mean, I think some of that is important. It's not just a matter of what do the nerds on the sheet say upstairs. It's, hey, I'm looking at my defense, and these guys are burned out. Like, these guys are not going to hold, and we'll just...
That's like 4th and 2 in Indianapolis when Bill went for it.
Well, Bill was afraid of Peyton Manning. That's what it was. That's what Bill was.
So to your original question, was this Jerod's worst week? I think add up all those things. I think that's fair to say.
The penalties
bad loss.
Make them look like such a stupid team, and maybe they just are a stupid team. Keon White, quick 30 yards of penalties. What are you doing? I mean, how do you have a player in his second year, just giving up yards like that and just playing so undisciplined? How do you have a situation where a guy, by rule, does not catch a touchdown pass, and still in the postgame they're talking about it like it was a blown call? How do you have that happen?
Right.
It reflects very poorly on the entire team and the program and the head coach, obviously.
I wonder on Keon White, he had the 2 penalties on the same drive, and he comes off after the headbutt roughing the passer. Yep. He comes off for one play, and I wonder, Beetle, to your point, why is this happening? Well, maybe because there's no repercussions for those miscues.
Yeah.
maybe that's part of it.
So we're on to Houston. Is this the week we see Drake May?
So I feel like the quarterback conversation picture is shifting.
I think you were right after the press conference on Monday that his tone changed. Emphatically, every other previous 5 Mondays, 100% behind Jacoby. He's our guy.
Yeah.
We didn't hear that Monday.
I think we looked at it differently last week. I think you were ready to go with Drake,
I wasn't, because I thought it was right.
Yeah, and ultimately you probably going to be proven right here.
It'll be nice to get the reps in before you have Houston, then you got to go to London.
And I think, to me, what's changed is, and there's a part of me that feels like it's unfair to Jacoby if they make the switch, because it's still not seeing guys getting open on a consistent basis. And while the offensive line I thought was better, it's still not great, as we saw on the first drive, for example.
Yep. But we know it's never going to be great.
Exactly, and part of that's on Jacoby. I think he would agree there are times he can get rid of it faster, as though you were saying on the broadcast that I enjoyed listening to. But I think there were more plays in this game that I thought were available to the quarterback, and I think when they go back and view it, they say, let's see if our number 3 overall pick can make those plays and elevate the offensive line and the receivers, maybe by extending a play so the receivers have more time to get open.
It boggled to me how many throws were to the sideline and to the boundary, where there was a lot of space in the middle of the field. They didn't start using it till the end of the game when you got Pop Douglas down the middle.
Yep.
Like they had some cover 2 there, and those are tough throws always to sideline. Their route composition was not good. Not good in this game. It was better in preseason.
Hey, if you like that clip, check out more videos from Zolak and Bertrand right here. For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.